What's up, world? This is Salim with Flip for Figs, and today we're going to take a look at solutions from Fusion Reactors, which offer ways to keep your Hot Toys figures like C-3PO and R2-D2 lit without needing those little tiny cell batteries. We'll also take a look at their custom lightsabers that are compatible with all of your Hot Toys Jedis. Let's dive in.
Flip for Figs.
When I flip, you flip, we flip.
Alrighty, folks, so when your package from Fusion Reactors arrives, if you order lightsabers, they're going to come in this nice little velvety jewelry box here. And then if you order any solutions to light up characters, they will likely come in a package like this that shows you the name of the character that they're for. And along with each lightsaber, you'll also get this little connector, which is going to connect to the lightsaber at this point, and it's also going to be USB at this point. Now, what's interesting is at first I was wondering why you couldn't just hook the whole lightsaber end directly to USB, but now I realize that being able to have this connection not only allows you to thread the lightsaber into your figures' clothing so that they're, not, the wires aren't visible, but also it gives you quite a lot of distance so you can hide your wiring. So I actually really like that they do that. And there's a lot of other companies out there that are also doing custom lightsabers, and this seems to be pretty consistent with all of them. So unlike Hot Toys, you don't need a little box that the character wears. There's no junction box. It just goes directly into USB, which is nice. And something that's really cool is, I don't know if this is only because I bought a bunch of them or if every order includes this, but this is actually like a little hub for all of your lightsabers and characters, and you can flip certain ones on and certain ones off. Now I'm going to have this plugged into a smart outlet, so that way it'll all just turn on with my collection. So now what we'll do is go ahead and start installing these. All right, so let's start with C-3PO. So just unscrew here. I never even installed the cell batteries in C-3PO, so this is my first time even opening this compartment. But I first kind of realized there was a need for an alternative solution when I got my first Hot Toys ever, which was actually Iron Man. And I remember thinking, wow, there's all these really cool lights, but, putting these batteries in, and it wasn't even so much the batteries that were the worst part. It was the fact that you have to open all of the little compartments to turn the on and off switch and everything like that. It just made it a pain. But with these Star Wars figures, I really, the lights in C-3PO's eyes really just bring him to life. Same with R2-D2. So it was more of a necessity for me than Iron Man. But anyways, so this dummy battery here is just going to go in where and I don't think it matters which way it goes in. So let's just see what happens. Okay, let's take a look. It works. So now let's put the eyes on. Perfection. There we go. That's my boy. All right, now something to be mindful of is you're going to have this wire sticking out. So depending on which way you're posing your characters, you'll need to figure out a way to kind of conceal that. But, if you have him kind of at a 45-degree angle, which is how I have him in my collection, then it shouldn't be a problem. All right, let's take a look at R2-D2. So he actually has two separate compartments here. So we'll pop these out and we'll see how it goes. All right, pop those out. Now let's put the fusion reactors in. All right, now something you'll notice is that there is a little, at least on mine, there's a drawn line, which I thought meant negative. Now usually, at least in the States, the negative side of a battery goes against the spring. In this case, the negative is to let you know that it goes the opposite side of the spring. So just keep that in mind, because I thought that mine were faulty or they weren't working, and it turns out it was user error. So Good to know, but let's see. R2 in all his glory. And let's flip those switches. And there you have it. So now his lights will always be on, which I just love. All right, so lightsabers are going to be a lot less work because they're essentially just plug and play. So, yep, and there you go. Now it looks a little orange in the video, but it's very, very red, don't you worry. And let's take a look at Yoda's. All right, very cool. And Anakin's / Luke's. So there you have it. I'll put them in this box so you can kind of see how bright they are, but they just look really, really awesome. Alrighty folks, so I got C-3PO, R2-D2, and the Jawa wired in with the dummy batteries, and Anakin holding the 2 Fusion Reactors lightsabers. Let's take a look. And there you have it. So everything works exactly as it should, and you know, if you have these plugged into like a smart outlet, you could just ask, you know, your smart assistant or whatever app you use to turn, you know, for everything to turn on all at once, which is what I'll do. And yeah, they look beautiful. Now, I know a lot of people hate the lightsabers that come with the Hot Toys, the standard USB light up ones. I don't mind them as much. Obviously, these Fusion Reactors ones are much brighter and much more vivid, and they look more screen accurate because it's kind of like a long prism as opposed to kind of tapering at the end like the Hot Toys ones do. However, you know, with Anakin, he didn't come with Count Dooku's light up lightsaber. If he had, I wouldn't have gotten the Fusion Reactors one. He only came with his light up lightsaber, which is one of my biggest gripes about the Anakin Artisan figure, especially since it was a deluxe. But anyways, for any Hot Toys figure that already includes a USB light up lightsaber like Kit Fisto, or any of the newer ones like my new Darth Sidious, I don't plan to upgrade them to Fusion Reactors just because they are pretty costly. I mean, I got, you know, Fusion Reactors is based out of Australia, and so the conversion rate, shipping, and all of that, it all adds up. They end up being around $100 a pop, maybe a little less if you're buying multiple things. Now, it's absolutely worth it for any figures like these two, or, you know, Iron Man, or even Thor, which I plan to get some of my Marvel ones lit up now that I've seen how well they work. But I think it's absolutely critical because trying to fuss with those dummy batteries, which don't last long, and you need to go in and toggle the on and off switch, is just not practical. But for the lightsabers, I would recommend only getting them for characters that don't already have USB light up lightsabers because they can be pretty costly. I mean, you buy 2 and you're almost on your way to the cost of an entire Hot Toys figure. Now, if you have the expendable money and you really want, you know, the most vivid lightsabers, Fusion Reactors is the way to go. There are other companies out there, so do your research, but I chose Fusion Reactors because aside from the lightsabers, they do have the kits for the characters. The Jawa's lights aren't as vivid, unfortunately, but that's just a testament to the quality of the figure itself, which he's actually coming up in my next figure matchup, so we'll talk a lot about the Jawa and why and how it could be better. But the light up lights on the Jawa aren't as strong as they could be, but for C-3PO and R2-D2 they look fantastic, and obviously for the lightsabers they look great. And yeah, other than that, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next time.
When I flip, you flip, we flip.